Hello. We are now on our third session. I'm Usher, and once again, my co-host is Eshadina. And so we are going to be continuing our discussion uh, uh, based on what we were uh, discussing in the past two other sessions. So go ahead, take it away, Dina.
So we were talking about Tucker Carlson the last time. Remember how we wanted to discuss his shoddy, whacked out version of Christianity, where, like you were saying, it seems to appeared out of nowhere, and there are no Jews, and there's nothing. It's just Christianity came to be out of nowhere. So, in his one of his last big meetings, maybe I think the beginning of last week, he said Jews are not the chosen people anymore.
Is he
And
speaking for God? I mean, is he a
yeah, I
mouth?
mean,
He must be a mouthpiece for
somebody
God.
died and made him the grand poobah.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So anyway, he basically is saying, there are no chosen people anymore. And my refute is from the New Testament, since that's what he believes in only. And in Romans 11, it basically says that the original root of the Christian faith is, in fact, the Jewish faith. It didn't come from out of nowhere. So, Paul, one of Jesus' followers, he said, the root supports you. You don't support the root supports you. And if you become arrogant and boastful against the original root, who are the Jewish people, correct? Then you are in danger, I'm paraphrasing, of being cut off. So the way that he's talking now, he proclaims it as it is so. And it is not so according to Romans 11.
Okay. So essentially, what most people do not understand, or they were raised on ignorance, and they're carrying on the ignorance, is that God did not choose the Jews. So this is not why we are the chosen people. The Jews chose God. That's why we're the chosen people. When God handed the Torah to Moses and Mount Sinai, what we said was, we will do, and then we will listen. God offered the whole world the Torah, but the world refused it. Even Jethro, as far south as Midian, which was in Africa, he even heard God speak. The world heard God speak. Now, based on who decided to be the chosen people is based on the people who decided to choose God.
Right.
Okay, so Tucker Carlson is an ignoramus. Him and Candace Owens and all these right-wing so-called conservative Christians are, they're totally they're either dumb or ignorant, or they're not willing to uh, look at the reality of what's going on. They build a religion based on like a horse with blinders. It goes only in one direction, and they do not see the periphery. Their religion is essentially a castle in the sky. There's no roots to it. There's no foundation. They decided they're going to take everything that is uh, man's weaknesses and man's proclivities and man's bad habits as being a sin, and then they have a back door to that. They say that for all the sins, their man God Jesus is going to forgive them. They are forgiven. Well, God does not forgive. God set the world in a certain order, and based on the way He set the world's order, is the one who accepts His laws are going to be they're going to find that. salvation. The ones who are trying to redefine God and make God fit their lifestyles for whatever wicked evil sins that they commit throughout life, including sins that goes against God of worshiping strange idols and creating this deities that would is a replacement of what God's intention. That is a total paganistic form of religion. It's a castle in the sky, and there's no foundation to it, and it's going to come crashing down on them. So these conservative Christians are people who are really have no basis. They have no foundation in religion. They create whatever is becoming again their lifestyle. You see, so it's going to continue. It's not going to. It's going to get worse as more and more Christians are clinging on to this hate, this religion of hate. Then
Exactly, religion of hate. And I was talking about that with you before. How how is that possible? I was telling you that John, Jesus' favorite friend, he said, if you do not have love, you don't have God. And how do you know if somebody has God? By how they treat their brothers and sisters, how they're treating the world. So, this is a major prerequisite to even prove that you are a good Christian in the Christian religion. Okay.
so going back a second,
Oh, yeah.
I,
John
I I
said,
have a thought, and I didn't.
if you hate your brother, if you hate the world, you're not of God. The Christian Bible says that you are of the devil. Now, Jews don't make a big hoo ha over the devil at all. They believe, like you've said to me, that he is an avenging angel. Is that
Okay,
correct?
so you talk about Satan. We call him in Hebrew Satan, and the Satan is an angel of God, and what he is the prosecuting angel.
Okay.
So, being the prosecuting angel, God sends him down to fulfill the decree against those that God deemed uh, that God deemed viable for prosecution. So, the Christians have this Hades kind of a belief, borrowed probably from their paganistic religion of Europe, where you have these lower levels of hell and whatever. That's not part of Judaism. Judaism is not does not deal in hell and heaven type of a situation. We deal essentially in the premise that we are either going to follow God's laws and live and be redeemed by God and live in His sanctity, or we are going to be casted out in the ways of the world. And the ways of the world is mostly what I would consider is the Christian form of Hades, living among the pagans in their ways is a hell.
It is a type of hell on earth. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And, here's something that Candace Owens said recently. I
Right.
think it was
No.
last week, maybe. She
Yeah.
said that the people who support Israel, or she claimed genocide, which is a joke. You attack a country, the country is going to attack you back. If 6,000 Mexicans came into Texas and murdered 1,200 Americans, what do you think would happen to Mexico? we all know self defense is not genocide, ever. Jews
So,
were attacked in Israel first. They attacked back just like they've been doing since the beginning.
so I would like to present.
Oh, I didn't tell you what she said. Wait a second, hold that thought.
Go
She
ahead.
said that those who support Israel or support the genocide of destructive buildings that have been destructed, because that's all I see. I've looked up the numbers that Hamas put out there. It's such a lie. You and I know that they put leaflets out before they even attacked, which I think is silly. You don't throw leaflets, you slaughter as many. And that's the way it is. That's the way war is. Regardless, she said that those who support Israel, support the quote unquote genocide, are cursed and their children are cursed. I will tell
So,
you something. You curse the people that are blessing Israel and the people who are Israel, you have now turned over to a type of Pharaoh spirit. And who gets cursed in the end with that kind of garbage?
yeah, so I'm wondering about this libel, genocide. Are there any Palestinians existing today?
What? Isn't there still
I mean,
millions? I saw
so
them
wait a minute.
celebrating. Can't wait to
So
get some more Jews. I
if there
saw
was
it.
a genocide, then there should not be any Palestinians existing.
Right.
They should all have been murdered or bombed out, which probably they dully deserve for the way they are. But as long as they're, are there still children in Gaza, or they all been genocide? The stupidity, the irrationality of these people buying into this genocide narrative is that Israel can wipe out Gaza in probably in one afternoon,
Yeah.
where nothing would exist, and not Hamas and the fighters, not the women, not the children, not even the cockroaches. They all will be burned to hell.
Yeah.
You
Why
know,
are, I don't
and
understand.
so if
If
the
this many
cockroaches
people,
if the cockroaches still exist in Gaza, then you know that if the cockroaches exist, then the Palestinians exist.
but it really it blows me away when I've looked at the different cafes that have gone up, coffee cafes, Nutella cafes, restaurants. I mean, if you've sincerely lost that many people, would you be so quick to run out and go to all these cafes? Wouldn't you be in any type of mourning? I don't,
Yeah.
it's such a lie. It's a lie. And anyway, it was God who gave the decree that Gaza would be destroyed in the end.
So anyway, what I wanted to show is some sources. One of the sources that discusses history of Christianity and uh, and the hate that spun out of it is a book called it's called Christian Anti-Semitism. Okay, and
Okay.
and so it's a history of hate, and it was written by a guy named William Nichols. That is a book that if anybody knows how to read, and anybody's willing how to read beyond 120, 140 characters of in the X or Twitter, if they can take the time, they will definitely learn a lot about their own religion. Now, this book was written by, like I said, by Williams Nichols, I'll tell you his credentials. Okay, his credentials is he's a professor emeritus, or he was, of religious studies at the University of British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada. He was born in England and educated in Cambridge University. His first book, Ecumenism and Catholicity, was awarded the Norrisian Prize of Divinity at Cambridge. after serving in the Anglican ministry. So he was a minister, was a Christian minister in England and Scotland. He founded the Department of Religious Studies at the University of British Columbia in 1961 and was head until 1983. From 1984 to 1985, he was visiting professor at religious studies at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. His publications include systematic and philosophical theology. Um, he has also been involved in Holocaust education since 1975. So somebody like that, an academician like him, he wrote a very interesting uh, treatise about the religion of hate, and he has sources. His sources are it's unbelievable. All of the notes and the sources he included, which were not necessarily Jews. Most of them were Christian academians, and so so. I guess what I'm trying to say that we're not over here discussing things necessarily off the fly. We are discussing things which has sources to back our claims.
Right.
And,
Well, it's a
and,
true.
and and our sources did not come from the Quran or from from BDS and all the crazy left wing professors that have been breeded and spawned in academia today in higher education like Harvard, Cambridge, or any of these big institutions that are influencing the brains full of mush to take on a certain political position. One other thing is that you have these people who are ignoramuses, including smart people, smart, educated people who are themselves ignorant. How can they choose sides uh, against other people who they do not know anything about the other people? They
It's
don't
true.
know anything about him. The only thing they learn about him is whatever hate and diatribe is posted on social media, and they take that as the truth. However, they have no idea for instance, what Judaism sanctifies. They have no idea what the sanctity of Judaism. They have no idea what the people that support Islam. They have no idea what Islam sanctifies, and they choose sides. They don't know what they're doing. They're just choosing sides
Yeah. Now the
because of social
Chrislam,
media.
Chrislam. Yeah, it's a like a Chrislam, and I saw a tweet that this Nazi put up, and he's very upset with this young man named Joshua Hammer because Joshua Hammer said that in the DNA of Europeans is Jew hatred or anti Semitism. And, you know, my family is ethnic Sephardic Jewish and Lutheran. Go figure. Okay. So, of course, there is a DNA of Jew hatred for thousands of years because if you are engaging in churches that just teach, Jews killed Jesus, and I've seen it. I've seen it myself in church where they say, well, the sin of the Jews. And you hear that crap enough, and it gets into you when Jesus himself said, no one takes my life from me. I give it voluntarily. So who is the final say? I would say Jesus. But here's the thing. The person who was so angry over this post that Joshua Hammer made is a neo-Nazi that hates Jews. And he was so upset over him saying that. That's how sick they are. That's how sick. It
Well,
is in the DNA of a lot of Europeans. I can admit that. I've seen it, you know? And if I didn't get out of it myself, who's to say if I wouldn't go that way because half of my family was Lutheran?
okay, so
See?
basically,
I reject it.
like I stated, that the first anti-Semitism was recorded in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in the five books of Moses, when the new Pharaoh came into being. He did not recognize the deeds of Joseph, and he was overwhelmed by the multitude of Jews living in Egypt, and he felt threatened. So he decided he's going to go ahead and enslave the Jews. That was the very first recorded time of
Right.
anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism did not start with Christianity or Islam, and anti-Semitism is not going to end. Even if Islam and Christianity will disappear from the face of the earth, it's still going to continue. And the reason it's going to continue because it's always going to be the tension, the uh, hatred of being God supporting people. People generally do not want to have these rules dictating their
It
lives
to do with
following God's laws. It is not incumbent upon their nature to start to stop stealing or to stop
human nature.
murdering or to stop adultery or it's not in their nature or to stop believing in other idols and in idols, not other idols, in idols. It's not, they're not going to do that. And when Jews say, no, we are not going to be part of your kind of a community that desecrates God's laws, then of course you're not going to be the Jews are not going to be invited to the country club, and they're going to be outcasts, and that's what the way anti-Semitism begins is because we
The
represent
hatred of God.
yeah, we represent the message of God, and they cannot go and kill God. So like I stated before, the only thing they're trying to do is if you can't kill God, they kill the messenger. But no,
Yeah.
God says, I'm not going to allow you to kill the messenger because I'm sending the message to the world. And if a message has to be, even through dreadful deeds like sending Mossad to kill, these non-Jewish terrorists. So that's so the way it's going to be. That's the way it's going to be. They're not going to defeat the Jews. We discussed it in the past that the Jews are not going to be defeated. That the societies and empires are going to be they're going to self-destruct like they've always have throughout history.
Yeah. You see it all over. I mean, I'm watching how a lot of uh, pro-Israel billionaires are who are buying like big chunks of major companies, and the Nazis and the commies and all the other dreck. They're very angry at this. But here's the thing: our Jews just that are billionaires who do have the resources to purchase large shares in these companies, they're sick and tired of the constant Jew hate and lies. So they have a right to go ahead and purchase things to stop that because they're lies.
Yeah,
You see what the Nazis put out 109 countries.
so but
Oh,
they
come on.
but they're always going to be there. I mean, it doesn't make any difference how much
So the Jews have a
uh,
right to take their money and go ahead and purchase some of these things and change that so that lies aren't out there. What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with it.
no, I don't see anything wrong with it, but sometimes I see it as it's futile because you're going to always have the next generation uh, breeding that DNA of hate to their children and their children's children, until the end of the world. I don't know I mean, I don't have a answer to this. The only thing, like I said, that that the Nazis and the communists and all these non-believers, along with the believers like Christians and Muslims and the whole pot of this soup of hate, it's just taking on a different time span in our history, and it's in our history of that there is a war against the Jews, and the war against the Jews is going to continue regardless who's going to be in charge.
Yeah, but for right now, it's a good thing. I don't see it
Well,
as a bad thing trying to correct these lies. You've seen them all over Twitter. They're friggin' lies. That's why I like Grok whenever I feel like going back on Twitter. I use it because it corrects the lie.
yeah, well, but then you have the majority of people are not going to self-check if if these tweets are if there's any accuracy behind it. They're just going to
Right.
buy into it because it's convenient.
Right.
It raises a stimuli. It stimulates them to gravitate towards a position of hate. That's
Yeah.
why when earlier we discussed the issue of, for instance, like the Arab flags, Palestinian flags.
Yeah. You were saying.
You know, and when you look at flags, and you know, even in the United States, you have red in there. You wonder, you know, what is the symbol of the red? Because it's very stimulating color. It represents blood. Okay, and you wonder why do nations choose to have red in their flags? And when you look at the Israeli flag, it's only blue for peace and white for purity. Uh, you know, I see even in the European flags they would have white with a red cross on it or whatever it may be. You know, I'm always dumbfounded. Why, you know, what is this uh, attraction for blood?
I know it is. It's
Well,
a
so maybe, you know,
Christianity. The European nations are supposedly Christian, and they keep cursing Israel, so they're getting filled up with Israel's enemies, which are
well,
Muslims.
so
So
we discussed it. Yeah, they're Christian by their self-definition, but when you look at the logic and you look at their you look at the European ways of how they practice their own religion and so forth, and where they came from, they're not Christians; they are pagans.
it's correct that I don't like I
So
told I think
even
really to
here in America, we discussed
years.
this in the past that when the Christians say America is a Christian nation, then my question is that a Christian pagan or Christian Jewish?
It should be Christian Jewish because, like I told you, in Queens, New York, they had a building built in 1824, and the mural was put up around the same time. And it said on the left side, it said Judaic law, Christian principles. So you could see this isn't even 100 years. Well, yeah, it wasn't even 100 years after the Revolutionary War that this church was put up, and it was trying to recognize that we abide by Judaic law with Christian values. So it's not like that anymore because how many times do the leftists try to take down, the Ten Commandments that the Christians are supposed to abide by? Now they don't want to because we don't want to follow Jewish law. So what kind of country are you going to have if you don't want to follow Jewish law? You're going to
Well, then the only law that they are following is the law of paganism, the law of
well, that's the way it's turned.
you know the law of I would call them dirt. You
Yeah,
know
you
this.
really don't hear the
I mean,
church
you know,
bells on Sunday anymore. When we were
Yeah,
young, did you live here when we were in what, the early 80s? You came here?
yeah.
Okay, you
Well,
remember hearing the church bells all the time? You don't hear them anymore.
no, no, you don't hear anything like that.
No.
Matter of fact, I've been reading that there's communities who are really having issues with the Muslims, the Muezzins. They call for the prayers, 5 days a week over the loudspeakers.
Yeah, they're allowed to do that.
They're allowed to do that. But now, now you have neighborhoods who are who are really disturbed by all these um, calls to prayer to Islam. They're trying to take action to stop all that crap. I don't know. I mean, we are definitely a changing society,
Yep.
and and that and people have to redefine themselves. Christians have to redefine themselves. As we spoke, are they going to be either the religion of paganism, or they're going to be the religion of, if they want to say the religion of Jesus, then they have to be the religion of Judaism. They can't be anything else. And so essentially, uh, people, like I said, they are they're going to have to recognize within themselves and choose what they want to be. Um,
Right.
uh, uh, Essentially, my thoughts is that that God only does two things. That's it. God only does only two things, and then the rest he gave humans the free will to either follow it or not to follow it. The first thing God did, as far as his creation, so that's one thing he created, and the second thing is he gave the laws. That's it. God does not do anything else. God is not like everybody would like to say is omnipresent and omni benevolent or whatever. These are the laws. You abide by the laws, you're going to live within His sanctity. If you do not abide the laws, you are going to live according to your ways.
Yeah,
And you know what? And Jews are just as guilty also.
sure.
The
I mean,
Jews.
we all are. There's none good,
Not
not
all the Jews, but the majority of Jews have decided that they are going to go in the direction of a path of the least resistance and not abide by God's laws.
many are like that. They're not
Yeah,
trying to
many are like that too.
tshuva.
Right, exactly.
And they're not reading the Bible. They don't care really. A lot of them just don't care. They become very secular. So, and
Well, secularism destroyed society many times over in Europe, and it led to so many the Reformation through it led to all the revolutions that you had, the revolutions in France and England, and it led to uh, the communist revolution in Russia. It led to Nazism. That's human secularism. It is a form of life that takes on the ideology of or the religion of not being abiding by God.
right.
That's a religion. Secularism is a religion that say we are not going to abide by God. Period. That's it. We're going to do whatever befits our
You
lifestyle.
used to say that it was amoral, which is worse than immoral.
Well, amoral, yeah, amoral are people who do not know the difference between bad and good. An immoral person, he knows the difference between bad and good. However, he chooses to be he chooses to be on the side of bad. So an amoral person is sometimes I wonder even if an amoral person has free will because they don't know how to choose.
Well, I believe that every human just goes the wrong way if they do not follow God.
Well,
Period.
that's it.
And how do you
That's
find
right.
out about God? You can find out from the Torah, the Tanakh, or what they call the Old Testament and the laws. And that will keep you. The
Well, I
law,
don't like the term Old Testament because
I don't either because it
there's
makes
no
it seem like
testimony.
old.
I don't like
It,
the term Old Testament because there's no testimony in the Old Testament.
it's just the word of
There's
God.
no testimony. It is a book of laws. Pick it up, read it. If you want to abide by it, fine. If you don't abide by it, then live according to your own consequence.
Yeah, basically Satanism. Satanism is do what thou will shall be the whole of the law. So that's Satanist. If you want to do what you want to do.
Well, that's a Christian definition. It's like I said,
Satanism is.
Satan was an angel. He was a prosecuting angel, and God sent him to prosecute those who do not abide by his laws.
Oh well, I think that's
Yeah,
going on a lot with all
yeah,
the weather. Look at all the weather.
yeah,
So
definitely.
prosecuting angel is prosecuting countries all over the world to keep cursing Israel and the Jews.
Yeah, so I think now what we need to do is end this session
Okay.
and maybe go ahead and start a new session. And I think we discussed enough about Christianity. In the next session, I'd like to discuss a little bit more about Islam. And
Know about it.
pardon me?
I don't know anything about it.
Okay, so
I don't care.
we'll discuss it and see yeah the logic behind that, and we'll go more because I don't want to beat down on Christianity, as I stated on the onset. Christianity by itself is a moral religion. Unfortunately, this moral religion has followers, and those followers are not moral people, not all of them.
Yeah.
Never have been. The followers are not all of them, but they breed even the good ones, the righteous ones. I'm sure their sons and daughters do not necessarily follow their parents' paths.
No, because you know how kids are now. They think that the parents can't be trusted because they're stupid, and the kids are so smart.
No,
They
of
know
course they
so
are.
much more than the parents.
Yeah, they know how to download TikTok and tweet,
Yeah,
and
very.
that's not
They know all about the technology, but would they know
right.
how to survive, a month without it if God forbid, the electric went down or the grid went down? They would be freaking out. They wouldn't know what to do.
So let's go to the next session. We'll end this one now.
I got, I can't do any more today. I got to do my chores.
Okay, so
What do you want
when
to do? Tonight or tomorrow or what?
tomorrow's fine.
Yeah, about 12 or so. Because I
Something like that.
get
Yeah,
them in the morning.
I'll let, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You like
Okay,
to